Um, do you want to hear a little bit about, Anita's brought in this tour, this thing that's coming, and I just thought maybe I'd speak into that a little bit more. Do you want me to speak into that a little more? Just,
I
yes?
would. I looked on it online a little bit, but I saw that the dates were changing, so I haven't looked at it
Right.
since
Well,
then. But I would love to hear.
okay, so um, I made a very difficult decision to not run any tours in 2021. And the idea was that the tours that had been canceled for this year, that we were opening up tours for next year. And I just got real clear that this isn't the time or place for me to ask people to travel in the world. Even for adventurous souls like me, it's not the time for me to travel. It's the time for me to listen to our dear, let's bring her to the front, dear Bast, and rest for a year. But I had one thing on the books that is a year program and a tour, because I kept having this dream every time I do a tour. I'm like, gosh, what if I had a group who we were working with together for a whole year before we arrived together in Egypt, right? And I've been dreaming of this for a long time. And then Sekhmet came into my dreams and she's like, yes, indeed, you need to do that. And this is what you need to do. And so a little bit of it is pre-done, like the Sekhmet class is a part of it. That will be open to others, and everybody who's going to be a part of the program will do the Sekhmet class. So it'll be us from the program and a few others who join us. And then there's also the Gifts of Ma'at, which many of you have done. And those who haven't done that will get the recordings for that work to be able to come into alignment with Ma'at. So that's part of it. And then every month we're going to meet for 2 hours. And I'm not going to talk a lot about what that is. One person I was talking about, she's like, what, you don't have a syllabus where it's all lined out and you tell us each month what we'll be focusing on? I was like, no, I don't, because we're going to be entering the mystery. And if you knew every month what was happening and what was coming, we wouldn't be in the mystery together. And so the purpose of those 12 months and that time together is to become, how do I put this succinctly? It's to become in alignment with your truth and your purpose as a divine being, right? And it's about coming into that recognition of your holy temple is you, right? Your body, your heart, your being, and what being a priestess or a priest of that holy temple means. Because this temple that is me is the temple that I move through the world in. It's the temple that I interact with each of you here. It's the temple I interact with everybody, right? It's the temple that I got really pissed the other morning when someone showed up at my farm and went into the house without a mask on, right? There was Sekhmet. She came out so strong, and boy, that guy, he was not happy with me because I wasn't very nice. But in that moment, I didn't need to be nice. I needed to be authentic to what that moment was. Anyway, so how do we engage in the world through this holy place? It's not something where I'm going to say at the end of this, you are going to become an ordained priestess of Sekhmet. I don't feel like it's my right as a human being to determine who is or isn't initiated into a particular god or goddess's lineage. What I believe my role is to help you align with that lineage which you are most in line with. Maybe it's Sekhmet, maybe it's Ma'at, maybe it's not any of them, maybe it's something else, right? And that's you find out what that is. In the temples in Egypt, in the very holy of holies, there's I think there's one temple I know of where that is still at Edfu. So there's a box in the very center place, and it's called the Naus. And inside of the Naus, they would put the golden statue of the god that temple represented. And so essentially, as we go through this process, we're going to be identifying what that is for us and who are we priest or priestessing to, right? Not so that you fall under some like, oh, it's Zahra Indigo's lineage of this, that, or the other. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like, who's your primary, and how do you come into alignment with that to share who you are in the world? Does it mean you're going to be teaching? Maybe, maybe not. Does it mean you're going to be working with people? Maybe, maybe not. Does it mean that you're going to be dedicating your life to this particular aspect? Maybe. That's the goal, right? So just like with the Ma'at work, we come into alignment with what's our ideals, what are our 42 dedications to being human in this world and in our lifetime. And so it's like, it's almost taking that and expanding it and deepening it. And then ending in Egypt. And the last little thing I'd say about it is I have some ideas about our itinerary and the places I want us to go that's a little off the track of what I normally do. Because what I want is for us to have the space there to sink into our completion of whatever our year together is. And so we'll have had a lot of time to work on information. We'll share stories about the Neteru. We'll talk about the places. All that stuff can happen a little bit each month, so that when we're actually there, I don't have to fill you up with all these words about this, that, and the other. Instead, we really arrive into the truth of what that place is asking of us at that point. And because we're living in the time of COVID and I can't this far out make an itinerary a set thing anyway, whoever our group is starting in January of this next January, we're going to create our itinerary is my plan. I'm going to say, what are our hopes and dreams? What's important to each of you? And I'm going to take all of that in, and then we'll sculpt that journey to be ours, right? And I'll make suggestions and I'll be like, nah, that's a little far outside the track, right? I can have some of that, but that's another piece of it that I haven't really shared with anybody, that we have a year together, and the first like 4 months of that year, we can create our journey before I really have to nail down dates, and we can determine what dates we want as a group, what works for all of us. So there's going to be a little more active co-creation and the participation of what we're doing. So that's my intention and that's my goal. We'll be working again with Sekhmet work, the Belly and the Goddess book. We'll be working with my Ma'at work, monthly, yet to be discovered mystery work each month, and then a journey in 2022 of our creation, right? Not just me going, this is where I'm taking you, but all of us being like, ooh, I heard about this place. Could we go there? And I'll be like, okay, let's look at that. How can we fit it in, right? So that's my goal. And that's that. And thank you for letting me share about it, because I'm actually really excited to lean into that and to spend a whole year with a group and then do the trip together, right? Versus usually we all arrive and I've met each of you in one way or the other as I've been planning the trips, but it's not like we've had a year to get to know one another and to do this deeper work together. It'll be really amazing. So anyway, I'm glad you're coming, Anita. And I hope that any of you who are called will join me too. Yeah.
You just described my wish that I have asked the Neteru for all of my 4 and 5 journeys to Egypt, is to have that time to be in the moment, sense and feel the energy, and allow it to be, not just tour alone. And it's like, oh, I wish this was 2021 so we could get to 2022 quickly. And we were done with COVID too, by the way. So that is just now.
So needed, yeah. It's so needed, that time. And when we're on normal tour, we don't have that time because we're trying to give all the information, work the alchemy, all the levels, all the ways in 14 days, and however many miles and however many temples. It's really a trial, and in a beautiful way. It's amazing trial, but it's a trial, right? It's not for one who doesn't, we don't sleep a lot. But on this one, there's not going to be the same need to share as much of the alchemy and the information, because we'll be doing it all year long together. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that one of the places we'll go is to Siwa. Siwa, it's a little bit off the track. It takes a bit to get there, but there's an oracle temple there. that I have been called to for a long time. And I've known many people that have gone. I've not been myself. I've arranged for people to go. There's hot springs there, amazing hot springs and amazing art and desert. And so my hope on this one, if we can do the itinerary, is that we'll arrive into Cairo and go north to Alexandria and then over to Siwa for a number of days to just enter into the desert, right? Into that desert place, into that quiet, into the solitude, into that oracle nature that it has. And then we'll go from there to, well, wherever we have created. And that's not 100%. Again, you know, there's going to be a little give and take depending on how our world opens up. And the same with the dates. We'll decide that as a group based on what we see the world doing in those first 4 months of next year. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that because that's not this. This is, well, that is this and this is that, but it's not the same at the same time. I just want to, we have 5 more minutes, and just thank you for humoring me to talk about that tour that's coming. I am excited about it, and it's like a beautiful golden carrot hanging in front of me. I'm grateful for it. So is there anything else that any of you want to say into what we've pulled as a reading today? I think that it's demonstrated the beauty of the Anubis Oracle, both for individual readings, but then the collective reading that spoke to us all as well, on each of those layers. So is there any other comments or questions or thoughts to put into the circle while we're here? And if not, we can come to our completion for our day. I just want to do a little thingy so we can save this as the July 8th group reading. All right. Oh, and if you decide to do that trip with me and the program with me starting in January, and you decide anytime in the next few months, this monthly offering will be included, because I think it's fun and it's a good way to get to know the Neteru and to hear about their stories. Different stories will pop up every month. So that's another piece of the whole. So when you're looking at it and looking at costs of it, it is not one of the lesser expensive programs I've done, but there is a lot that's included in it. So you get a lot of access points to the mysteries and to different processes that we do. So anyway, this is included in that.